Today we are gonna make the most incredible gluten-free homemade pasta you've ever had in your life. It is so easy. This is a recipe you can make without a stand mixer, but if you have the stand mixer, preferably with the attachment for the shapes of pasta, game changer, friends. Let me run you through what we're gonna need in terms of ingredients because it's that simple. Literally, we're gonna need our flour. I will link this flour below. It's my favorite. You can try others. I've tried others, but this is my favorite one. We're gonna need some eggs, some salt, some water, and some olive oil, and that's it. I love this. My husband designed this kitchen when we had it done, and I absolutely love this. Okay, we're gonna need our dough hook. Okay, and I'm gonna grab the recipe. Oh, this one is not in this ebook. If I do have a gluten-free ebook, and I talked about this with the bread recipe video. I will link that above if you wanna make the best Italian bread ever. Gluten-free, super easy, and you don't need a mixer for it. Go check out that video after today. Let me grab the recipe. I love keeping all of my recipes in one place. So this is what we're making. We're making this rigatoni. Okay, so we're gonna need 2 cups of flour, but I'm gonna increase this recipe. Okay, we're gonna do it to serve 12 people. We're not gonna need that much. So we need 4 cups of gluten-free flour. Okay, this is a 1/2 cup, so I'm gonna need 8 of these. And I'm just gonna put it straight inside of this bowl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, I'm not gonna have 6. 6.5, okay. My favorite flour, I actually have a whole nother thing. So that was 6.5, okay, so then 7. 7.5, I sure hope I didn't mess this up. 8. The great thing about making this recipe is you're gonna be able to tell if the consistency is off. Like there's no way you're not gonna know. So then I'm gonna need 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm using pink salt, but you can use regular salt if you want. If you're using just table salt, you're probably gonna need less. That's why I like using the pink salt. 4 large eggs, and what I'm gonna do with the eggs is I'm actually going to put them in this separate cup. So we need 4 of them. Uno. Dos. You didn't know I spoke Spanish, did you? Tres. Cuatro. It's because I really don't speak Spanish very well. My husband is fluent. Someday I will learn Spanish. That's on my to-do list. Now I'm just gonna use a fork to whisk it up. It's just as easy than busting out my whisk. So we've got our eggs. Now we're gonna need 1/2 of a cup of filtered water and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. So what I'm gonna do to make my life easy is I'm going to raise my, okay, turn this on. And I'm literally gonna just pour this in here, and then I'm gonna measure out, well, I'm gonna reroute that. Okay, we're gonna put the water. I'm gonna just pour this in. I'm not doing anything special here, okay? I'm gonna get just a drop more water just to get all the egg out. And we're gonna just let the stand mixer do its thing, so come with me. What you're going to have to do is periodically stop it and scrape down the sides. So what I realized, let me turn this off, what I realized because I watched the footage back, is I actually used 5 cups of flour. I don't know, it's because I was doing too many things at once. So looking at 5 cups of flour, I actually am going to need to add another egg into this. I knew something did not look right. There's definitely not enough liquid. So I needed another egg. We need another little bit of oil. I'm eyeballing about another half of a tablespoon. The correct recipe will be below, I promise. We're gonna need just another pinch of salt. Oh, why did I put the salt in there? This is where I'm at today, friends. And we're gonna need a little bit more of the water. So I'm literally gonna just throw this in here and let my mixer do the job for me. No, I didn't edit all this out. I'm leaving it in there to show you that, yeah, even though I cook all the time, nobody's perfect. So you can see it's really coming together now. And this is actually enough that we can finish it by hand. I'm simply going to take a little bit of the flour and just sprinkle it on my counter. And because it's everyone's best friend, we talked about this in the bread video, is olive oil. So now with my hands with a crazy amount of olive oil, I'm going to make this into one large dough ball, okay? Because this does not contain any gluten, it's very forgiving. You can overwork gluten and it becomes like you ruin it. If you've ever tried to make homemade pasta or bread and cookies, something baked, and things didn't go according to plan, it's likely because of the gluten structure, or they call it the gluten window that you would see to know that it's developed enough gluten, but you don't want to overwork it. We don't have that problem here. So it's super easy, and you can see the dough is actually really sticky. We're not gonna want it this sticky in the pasta machine thing because it's gonna get stuck in there. So, but we have to get everything together. And so this is looking really good here, but I am going to add more flour to this now. And we're going to keep bringing a little bit more in until it's formed, but we can squeeze it, like see that there? That's looking better, but it's still a little tacky. I will not have an exact recipe for how much flour because this has to go according to feel. The altitude you're in is gonna make a difference, how warm your house is, all of these things matter, but what I'm looking for is for me to be able to squeeze it and it's not sticking to my hands. You can either do that at this phase or when we're actually putting it through the machine. And we're probably gonna be doing a little bit then also. Okay, this is looking really good. Maybe just a little bit more. You make this recipe for somebody that is not gluten-free, they would never know. And this does not contain any wheat starch. So if somebody has an issue with wheat, they could eat this. Just not the bread. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I just want to get it smooth. So we need to attach this inside of this holder, obviously upside down. And you have to make sure it goes all the way in, just like that. Then you tighten the knob down so that it is completely still. I'm gonna wipe off this just to ensure that there's not any dirt or extra flour because we're getting ready to do our pasta. I've got meatballs that I made with sausage and ground beef going. So, started pickling some red onions for dinner tonight. It's gonna be amazing. So let's get the pasta out, and actually, I'll get this out, and I need to get some parchment paper. This is not a quick recipe. Well, it's a quick recipe, but this is a little time consuming, but it's delicioso. Here's our dough ball. It's huge. So we're also gonna get the flour ready because we're probably gonna need more. So we're gonna put a little bit of flour down, and I'm gonna take this dough ball out, and we're just gonna cut some off. We're gonna put this back in the bag so it doesn't dry out. Okay, so now with this, what we wanna do is make sure that it is not too sticky. Remember we talked about that before. So we're gonna essentially roll like 1-inch balls, and that's what's gonna go inside of this machine. We gotta make sure that it's not too sticky or too dry. There's the perfect balance. If it has gluten in it, it's actually much easier to work with. But I can't eat gluten, so this is what I've got. Okay, so this here looks about right. So I'm gonna, essentially what we're gonna start doing is rolling balls, okay? And again, I wanna make sure that they're not sticky. See how sticky that is? It's gonna come out of the machine much easier if it's not sticky. And essentially, we wanna line up a whole bunch of these, so when we start the machine, it's gonna take quite a lot for it to fill this machine. It's gonna take quite a lot. See, that's still, oh man, I left my ring on. Let's take that off. This is gonna make a lot of pasta. It's gonna be so good. Trust the process, friends. Trust the process. Okay, so now we're gonna start rolling out these dough balls, okay? They don't have to be perfect. We're looking for about something like this. And checking to see the stickiness. That's really, really important. Like that's a little bit too sticky, so just add a little bit more flour to it. Have you ever made homemade pasta before? I would love to know. I didn't do this as a child. Like my grandmother, except for managata, which I do have a recipe for that video and I will link it below, did not make homemade pasta that I know of. I mean, not my whole life, and I grew up there. So I started doing this when my kids were young, and game changer. My husband usually helps me with this, and he is doing the renovations outside. So, well, some of the renovations. So I'm gonna make sure I have enough of these dough balls rolled out to get started, because I have to fill this whole machine up. This has to be filled. If you can roll a meatball, you can do this. Okay, let's see how much you're gonna put this on number 2 and just start putting them in. Literally, plop, plop. That's what we have this tool for, just to push it in there. Look at the rigatoni coming out. Hey babe, what was the tool? This isn't it.
What was that?
It was? Trying to do this by myself is funny. I have to have enough dough balls. Pamela's is so much better. Do you do it really quick?
And then I pull it back.
Okay, so I screwed it. Yeah, I screwed it up.
That's what I had.
Yeah. So, I am completely worn out. I've been at this, it's 5:11. I feel like I started this at like 1 o'clock. I've been doing it for hours. I decided to forgo all of this. Like, I'm gonna make this tomorrow or the next day because I have company coming in less than an hour and I still have so much to do. So let me show you what we made. So I've got to clean this place up because the architect is coming, but I will be sure to film us eating, or at least taking a couple of bites, because it is so delicious.
They're really big. Tastes amazing. I do anything. I work outside all day.
So dinner is finally ready, and I gotta say I killed it. Of course, I always do. So we have our architect here, and he's gonna tell you a little bit about himself.
I prepared a speech for this moment. Putting my whole life for this.
We're totally kidding.
I haven't eaten in a month.
He hasn't eaten in so long, and so that's the rigatoni and the bread. So this is the first time, is this the first bite?
This is the first bite.
So we're gonna make this a famous bite.
First bite. Holy smokes. That's amazing.
No good.
That's so good.
I paid him.
So good.
I paid him $5 to say that.
Yeah, where's that? $5.
This is how we do it at Casa Quintana. Right, Tom?
That's right.
All of the bread.
Yeah, get your food, girl.
If you enjoyed today's super easy recipe, give this video a thumbs up, share it with anyone that you know that is looking for healthy recipes, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends.